The knock came early, a sharp sound that sliced through the stillness of the morning. It wasn't the kind of knock you get from a neighbor or a friend. No, this one had a different tone, assertive, almost demanding, as if the people on the other side expected no resistance. When I opened the door, two strangers stood there, both in matching polo shirts, clipboards in hand, smiles plastered on their faces like they were trained to be pleasant. But it was all too calculated. Homeowners Association officers. They said it as though that explained everything, like I should already know what was coming next. "We're here for a routine inspection," one of them said, barely looking up from the sheet of paper in her hands. "Yard, fence, exterior compliance," the other officer added, almost casually. "We might need to walk around and take a few pictures for our records." No request, no permission, just an expectation that I'd comply without question. Something in me tightened, a knot forming in my stomach. This wasn't right. I hadn't received any notice, no letter, nothing. Yet here they were, acting like they had full control. Like my property was just another checkbox to tick off. I asked the simplest question I could. Why? The woman didn't hesitate. HOA bylaws, mandatory compliance. She didn't stop there. "You agreed to all of this when you bought your home," she added, her voice still smooth, confident. Then came the line they always use, the one that's supposed to make you cave. Refusal results in fines. I took a deep breath, looked her in the eye, and said, "You're not coming in." The change was immediate. Her smile vanished, replaced with a cold, professional tone. "Fines can be issued daily," she said, making sure to emphasize the word daily, as though it might scare me. "And if you continue to refuse, we'll take legal action. Court, enforcement, all of it." Her partner jumped in, listing possible violations. Grass length, fence alignment, the paint on my house, and, bizarrely, my mailbox. My mailbox. Seriously, they weren't even checking, just assuming. And assumptions are dangerous when it comes to property law. I noticed her pulling out her phone, snapping pictures of my yard, my house, my driveway. She spoke as she did, narrating each photo as though she were building a case. Non-compliance documented, refusal noted. Then she dropped the bomb. "You'll be hearing from our legal department." That was when they expected the pressure to work. Most people would fold at that point, run inside to grab papers or apologize. Instead, I stood still and said, "Give me a minute." They exchanged glances. Their faces shifted, ever so slightly, back to smug satisfaction. They clearly thought I was going inside to panic and find a way to comply. They had no idea what I was really doing. Inside, I pulled out a folder I hadn't needed in years. Thick, heavy with paperwork, county records, deeds, plat stuff most people ignore after they close on a house. But I knew what those papers meant. And I knew I was holding the one thing that could end this whole interaction. When I came back outside, I didn't shout or argue. I simply held up the folder, but I didn't give it to them yet. I just asked one question. Before you issue fines or call your lawyers, are you absolutely certain my property is part of your HOA? The woman didn't hesitate. Everyone on this street is. I shook my head. Not everyone. For the first time, they fell silent. The confidence they had when they arrived, the certainty in their voices, was suddenly gone. Their authorities started to feel less solid. Why? Because they didn't have the facts. I opened the folder, took out the first document, and pointed to it. "This," I said, "is the original county plat map for this subdivision." The woman frowned. The younger officer leaned forward slightly. They weren't expecting county records. They were expecting excuses. I continued calmly, because facts hit harder when you let them sink in. When this neighborhood was first developed, the builder created the HOA in phases. Most of the street is under the HOA's authority, but not all of it. My lot was legally excluded before the HOA covenants were recorded. I turned the page. "This," I added, "is my property deed." I didn't hand it over, just held it where they could see. No HOA covenant, no binding agreement, no jurisdiction over my property. The younger officer's face paled slightly. He looked like he'd just realized he was in the wrong place. The woman scanned the papers, then looked back at me. "That can't be right," she muttered. "It is," I said, "and it's been recorded with the county for decades." I pointed to a specific line. "This property was never annexed into the HOA. I don't owe dues. I don't follow your bylaws. And I don't consent to inspections." The silence that followed wasn't just awkward, it was heavy. The weight of their authority crumbling in real time. The woman tried to recover, suggesting there must have been a clerical error. She claimed they'd been sending me violation notices for years. "I know," I said. "I ignored them because they don't apply to me." That was the moment it hit them. All the threats, all the fines, they were meaningless. Then I said the one line that changed everything. "You ray on private property without permission." She opened her mouth but closed it again. The younger officer glanced at her, then at me, then back at the driveway as if planning his exit strategy. "In legal terms," I continued, "that's trespassing." I let it sit for a second before adding, "I'm asking you to leave now." In an instant, the power shifted. Only minutes earlier, they'd been threatening fines and legal action. Now, they were the ones at risk. Not because I shouted or lost my temper, but because the law was on my side. The woman stiffened, nodded, and muttered something about reviewing records. The younger officer didn't say a word. They turned around and walked back to their car. Clipboards useless, authority gone. They drove off, not a word between them. I stood there for a moment, then went back inside. I picked up my cold coffee, sat down in silence. Same sun, same birds, but everything had changed. That day wasn't about winning an argument. It was about knowing the truth before anyone tried to scare me with lies. HOA letters, landlords, authorities, they only have power if you let them. Most people never check. They just comply, panic, or give in. But I didn't. I read the fine print, pulled the records, understood what was mine and what wasn't. And that knowledge, it did all the fighting for me. So, if you're buying property, don't just trust what people tell you. Check the documents, verify boundaries, understand the covenants, because one day someone might knock on your door, thinking they have control over your home. And the only thing that will protect you is the paperwork they never bothered to read.